Hello, hello. This is Christina, your host today. And today it's a new episode of KSM Podcast, Growing Business Online with Christina. And I have such a pleasure to have my special guest speaker far away from USA, Leah Sparrow. Leah, welcome to the new episode of KSM Podcast.
Yay! I'm excited to be here and sharing with people out there how they can create a more effortless business, working 3-day work weeks and bringing in 10K or more a month. I mean, that's the dream, right? Is living this freedom of location and living the life that you want while having a business that provides you the way to do that.
And Leah, welcome to new episode, and thank you for your time today. I'm super excited, and you are a business coach. Can you
Yes.
introduce yourself, who you are, what you do?
Well, I mean, it's a crazy little ride. I'm one of those people, when they always say follow your passion, right? So I went to school, I did the whole corporate thing, joined into radio broadcasting and just did what the boss said, come in at this time, leave at this time, sometimes not leave at that time and stay longer. Um, and be on call morning, noon, and night. Cause I was the person that was secondhand to the owner. I was right under the owner. So I was like the gatekeeper, so to speak. I trained everybody in the radio station and created commercials, edited audio, and all that stuff. So at that time, back in a long time ago, I don't want to reveal how old I am, but we're talking before 2000. I was doing radio and on into the 2000s. And what I didn't realize at the time, I had a lot of businesses coming to me and asking me to help them with promotions and what we would call swag, which is basically like business cards, t-shirts, things like that. And also helping them with like back office stuff, how to handle the clients, to let them know what their boundaries are and what to expect and that sort of thing. These were all service-based businesses. And I never really realized it at the time until I took the journey of becoming someone who owned her own business. I started out online teaching because I was also a certified teacher. And that's where I started because that was just like, okay, that's an easy entry into starting this online journey of mine. And eventually realized through online teaching that my zone of genius is helping people get clients because people would come to me in as an independent contractor. How do you get so many students? I mean, I would get booked like as soon as I would have parents call me and say, can you open up a slot? And I would open the slot, tell them I was opening the slot, and they're like, damn it, somebody else took it. And I would have a lot of people going, how do you do that? And so I decided, okay, I'm going to share how in the world you get students. And it just grew from there. And I realized, when I started doing the business coach thing, because I do love marketing, I love creating video, I love creating content, I love speaking to an audience. And I also love sales. I learned to love sales. You have to learn to love sales. So when I discovered all these things, kind of online teaching and my background in radio broadcasting, I was like, wait a minute, all this goes in line with online services. And that's when I started realizing how I could help a community of people who wanted that same freedom that I was experiencing riding horses while, being done at 9 o'clock in the morning and going out and riding horses, taking care of my son and being present for every game he ever had. That was the goal. And I've built on that over decades and created this business that I love right now, effortlessly booked. LeahSparrow Digital Marketing LLC. I absolutely love my business. I wake up every morning excited to talk with my audience. I love who's in my feed. We have great conversations and have fun with each other. And when they enter my world, they get, we work off of each other and support one another with our ideas, yes, but at the same time, I'm there to push them forward in their journey, overcome those mindset obstacles, and create that freedom of space inside their business along with the strategy. The strategy is so very important. You can't just sit there and have the mindset of I'll just, you know, basically sit here and just think it into reality. You have to combine both of them. And I feel like strategy is something that you can observe and learn from, but the problem is you get in your own way wanting to do all of it. So that's my mission of my business, is to create that breathing space in your business so you can go get a massage. One of my clients went and saw symphonies every week. And another one went cliff diving. That was his thing, but when they first met me, they were literally taking their lunch break to talk to me in our services. So I changed the way my services were delivered so that they could I don't want anybody missing lunch, in order to run their business. That's just not good. I see a lot of entrepreneurs out there just burning the candle at both ends, throwing spaghetti, trying to figure out what sticks and what works, trying to attract their ideal client and being very frustrated about it. And I've been there and I don't like that space and I don't want anybody else to be in that space either.
And you came from, your background is from radio
Radio
and
and teaching, yeah.
teaching, and and in that time, did you start to do something which you never done before, like as you
Like,
said, marketing and editing, and it was like to, and or you did you get some new skills there before you started your own business journey, because
uh,
this podcast is about just this guest speakers share their stories to trigger
mhm,
other audience to
that's,
maybe if to start their own business journey, because
mhm,
most of the time people are in stack. How can I do that? Am I good
uh-huh.
enough? And
Yeah, it's the 9 to 5 mindset that they're dealing with. And the imposter syndrome. The things that I learned in radio are actually the things that are incredibly useful for social media marketing. So one of the things that I did when I first started radio, that's the very beginning of my journey. I was in my early 20s. I'm actually an introvert. So a lot of people don't believe that when I say it, because when I go to networking events and everything, and they're like, God, you make friends everywhere you go. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm going to go home and take a nap. Introvert does not mean shy. So first we need to get over that mindset of I'm too shy, I'm an introvert, I can't. No, you can. It's just you have to be mindful of your energy. So when I started radio, I realized, oh, this isn't just behind a microphone and nobody else is around. I actually have to deal with people. So I learned how to be an extrovert on cue, if that makes sense. I watched people who were extroverts and learned from them how they engaged and brought people into their world and talked to them. But I also learned from introverts. My mentor is an introvert and she's very good at what she does. And she has helped me navigate the emotional aspect. I think that's what it is. Like in the 9 to 5 situation, they don't address your emotions. They don't address anything. It's just get the work done. They don't care that you're dealing with all this other stuff. And I think when we feel stuck, it's the fear aspect. The number one thing that you can do is forget all the stuff that you think you don't know and go with the things that you do and do your best to improve upon your skills as well as those weaknesses that you have. If it's a weakness that you feel like you need to address in order to propel yourself forward in your journey, then seek out someone to help you address that. And sometimes, these things have nothing to do with business. Sometimes they have to do with how you hold relationships. And that's the key to marketing and sales. Marketing is relationships. Sales is, the date. So you got to think like you're out on a date with sales and marketing, but if you feel stuck, the first thing you need to ask yourself is, do I want this life 5 years from now? Where will I be if I continue down this trajectory versus the one I desire? Get real with yourself. If you stay put where you are, what will you be in 5 years? Does that make you happy? Are you good with that? And yes, it's a scary thing to step out of your box, to step out of the security of someone else providing you the funds. But hey, let's think about it. The radio station that I worked for, they're out of business because of the way radio has evolved. So they're not necessarily out of business. They've changed the way they've done. They don't need as many on-air personalities. Satellite radio, you can freaking broadcast from anywhere in the world, and half the morning shows are on 16 different radios because they figured out a more streamlined way to do something without having to spend so much money on employees. They've automated a lot of systems in radio. And when I saw that, I was in charge of commercials. I had to make the conscious decision to walk away from radio, the one thing that I've been doing for decades, and move to a completely different aspect of my life, which was teaching, which led me to online teaching, which led me to the business I have now. So you have to think about Your fear sometimes is just, or being stuck is just your lack of understanding which decision to make. And that's where you need to really sit down and find somebody who can help you navigate that. I'm not saying pay somebody, pay somebody if you want. I'm saying find somebody to help you navigate that, somebody who's been there. That's why I have the mentor I have right now. Yes, I pay her good money, but at the same time, she has expedited my process with my business and gotten me unstuck. You're always going to find moments when you're stuck. So if you're super stuck right now, you need to figure out how to get unstuck if you really want to do an online business, because you're going to get stuck many times, but you just get better at getting unstuck.
So what we wanted to say that if we wanted to start something, we need some, if we don't know that or we are in stock, we need to engage someone to work with us, like coach, mentor. This is so important, or some so experienced
professor,
who can
wherever
help,
you're at
to give you
in your
advice,
situation, a
to
counselor,
encourage you,
whatever it is,
and resolve whatever you wanted to start. Just to be, as you said, it's so important. I'm just thinking, if I don't think what I wanted to do in the next 5 years, what if I wanted to grow, I need to put something in my hands and take action,
and if you want to reduce that
move
pressure and
step
that
forward,
if you want to reduce the pressure and the stuck aspect, ask yourself, where do I want to be in a year? Say, what do I want to see in a year? And then work your way backwards in that process. Okay. It's just like, for the other day, I've been riding horses since I was 3 years old. That's over 50 years of experience. You got a little bit of a hint of how old I am now. So I don't like revealing that, because a Southern woman never reveals her age. But, but people often say to me, why are you taking lessons? You've been doing this so long. Don't you know how to ride horses yet? Yes, I'm at a stage where, yes, I do know how to ride horses. But like, sometimes you get into a situation where you're in the thick of it and you have these goals. Like, I had goals with my horse. I wanted her to do certain things when we were riding, and I just couldn't figure out what was the missing piece that was stopping us from being able to do that maneuver. So I went to a trainer and he said, you ride better than me. I said, yeah, but you train better than me. It's two different things, right? And all he did was tell me 3 different things I could be working on with my horse, and we were propelled exponentially within the next week compared to where we were before we met him. That's the point, is you know what to do, but you have someone from the outside looking at what you're doing and asking the right questions, who can say, okay, we've sifted through all the mess. And what I'm thinking is, this is where you need to focus right now. They can give you that jump off point. And then if you decide to stay with that mentor, whoever it is, they can help you navigate on further and elevate that experience, because that jumping off point is still going to repeat itself. That piece that has got you stuck is still going to repeat itself. It's just going to come up in a different way, but you will get better at getting yourself unstuck. You'll have the tools because you have a mentor who's a few steps ahead of you that says, hey, look, here's some things that you can try to do to help you get out of that space. And that's the whole point of a mentor. You already know within you what to do. So for example, Christina, what's the one thing that you need to do for your business? What do you need to bring into your business for your business to run? Money, right? Well, how do we get money? Selling our services.
And by the way, when you are, and it was you just took me something from my mind. I want to ask you about, there are many people who they're starting business, but we always talk about ideal client. Can you share with us? And the other question is, what triggered you to start your business? But before that, and this is a
I know we're going down little rabbit
podcast,
holes
yeah. And I just want to, because most of the time we have that mindset, how to discover, how to describe, how to find ideal client. And I think that you also help your clients with that, because if we don't have clients, what we are going to do?
So my first question for you, in relationship to this question, okay, let's get you, we're going to think of an avatar of somebody who is seeking out, who is asking you the question, right? So think about that person that you're asking for. Where are they in their business now? Have they gotten started, or are they just thinking about it? So where are they right now? Can you tell me? with this person that you're speaking of that you want me to talk to right now about ideal client avatars and things like that? Where are they right now in their business? Are they thinking about starting one, or have they been in it?
If they have been in it.
Okay, so if you've been in it for at least 6 months to a year, you should be focusing on sales, which does relate to the ideal client avatar. And the only way that you can really discover who your ideal client is to have sales calls. So during your sales calls, you don't just ask questions about, you don't just sit there and go, here's what you need to do, right? You need to ask questions actually to determine if you can support them and whether or not you even want them in your world. So there's different strategies that you can use inside of a sales call to do that. But it's you just think you're having a conversation with someone new at a party, and it's the same kind of situation you did in college when you said, "What's your major? What year are you?" That it's, what's your niche? How long have you been doing your business? What do you think are your big struggles? So when you think in relationship to the ideal client avatar, sometimes if you're still like, but I'm just still not sure. I've done sales calls and I just don't understand why I get so many people objecting. I get so many people who just don't seem like they're, good, or I jump the gun and I just take anybody and then I end up with, a few nightmare clients here and there, right? Well, your nightmare clients can actually be gifts in disguise, because they'll tell you what you're not looking for. Sometimes that's easier to do than actually what you're looking for. So start from there. What don't I want? I don't want somebody who is unwilling to be coached. I don't want somebody who thinks that, it's a magic wand and poof, we have a business. I don't want somebody who has a very negative attitude and thinks that people are all out there to create scams. Think about all of those aspects. That type of mindset that I just described is somebody who really doesn't want to build a business. They would much rather have somebody just do it for them. And I've had nightmare clients like that who have that same mindset and are making 7 figures, but the whole environment in their business, in my opinion, is a fucking nightmare, because they're scared to take off for vacation. They're scared to do all those kind of things. So finding your ideal client actually helps you create that balance, because now you love doing it. It doesn't feel like work because you love working with your people. So if you're going to sit down with your ideal client, think about this. This is probably one of the best things you can do. 1, think about what you don't want, right? 2, sit down and write out 3 questions that you feel will give you some insight into their current situation and whether or not your services can support them. And 3, sit down with like a timeline of your ideal client. So like I asked you before, are they in their first year? Or are they just thinking about a business, right? So if you sit down and you do a timeline of your ideal client, and you sit down and you say, okay, here's client number 1 in the very beginning. They don't know what they want to do. I'm using my business as an example, but let's use a health and fitness person. Okay. So you got the one person here who's overweight. They're kind of thinking about doing something. They don't know what to do, but you're somebody who trains athletes. Is that your ideal client? No, but it could be. It could be, right? This person who's out of shape, doesn't even know where they want to go in the world, could be an athlete. I've seen many athletes rise from that situation. So then you take that person up a notch in your timeline. What is their mindset there? And then take them up a notch, another up. So you got beginner, middle, and expert, and decide where on that timeline, who do you want to serve, where they are in that journey, and think about their mindset. So for example, if you're someone who designs homes, and you're speaking in the language of how to design a home on a budget, you're going to get people with low income, and you're going to have to up price accordingly. However, if you speak to that rich woman in the mansion who's like, I just love this place and I really want to make it own. I want a big giant chandelier. She knows that she knows what she wants. She wants somebody else to come in and step in and help her with it. And she's willing to spend the money to make it great. Whereas the other person's saying, I like a nice home, but I don't have a lot of money to do it with. So you got to think about their mindset, and that affects your pricing. That affects the way you sell. That affects the way you speak to them.
And I have the other question in connection with ideal clients. For example, on social media, either, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, there are different people who we connect and network. but it doesn't matter that, you know, all of them just wanted to show up to offer their services. How we can connect with right person there? Just go to their profile and see who would be fit, because all of them just offer or send you DM directly, you know. If you
Well,
you
now when you say all of them, who are you speaking about getting DMs and when you're looking for your
no,
ideal
just
client?
DMs, but
Or
for example, on networking, let's say networking,
okay.
we can say, introduce ourselves and connect. And all of us just say, okay, this is good what you do. But I don't get clients from there. You know, how we can recognize it, how we can connect in terms, if we connect with someone send you friendly request, you connect and you want to have discovery session call. But most of them just want to, we are always in that, like, no, just that most of them just offer, you know, we all wanted to
Yeah,
sell.
and instead of wanting to, okay,
And how
so
choose it
instead
from
of wanting
those
to buy
people?
from you, they want to sell to you.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the thing is you are in the space of doing business. All right. Now, you know, Russell Brunson, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a
Yes, of
funnel
course.
guy.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
People want to sell to him. You know, I'm sure that some of his clients tried to sell to him, right? That does that mean you need to buy their services? No. What it means is you need to make a mindset shift. So if you're focusing on the aspect of everybody wants to sell versus I'm in the business space and I know my ideal client is out there and will come to me, then you know that stuff, just ignore it. I mean, that sounds simple and I've been there. I get it. It's frustrating as hell. And I still get those people, but I'm just like, ah, whatever. You know, if I'm not interested in their stuff, I'm just, okay, well, that's great. You go do you. But at the same time, you got to think about more about being a lighthouse versus jumping into the DM immediately after friend requesting somebody. So think about you're at a party and you want to make friends with the guy across the room. Is your first thing going to be, hey, I want to jump in bed with him? No,
No,
no.
of course,
It's not even
no.
going to be, hey, I want to take a date with him. Or it's not even going to be, hey, I want to hold his hand. None of that. You're just going to be like, I wonder what his name is. Right. So, and then I'm going to go over there and I'm going to ask him, you know, so what do you do? You know, it's the taking the face-to-face aspect and bringing it into social media. And then you have networking. And I think a lot of networking events are done wrong. So before you go into a networking event, whether it's the first time or the 20th time, think to yourself, I'm just going to see what's there. And if it's not for me, I'm going to go find another space that's for me. It's the same thing as an ideal client. You got to find your ideal strategy and stick with it for a year instead of, I'm going to go network. I'm going to do lives. I'm going to do a challenge. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Pick something. I know a lot of people who have done nothing but network and are never on social media and they've filled their business
There are
with
people
clients.
who appear just and they don't see that they don't have clients there, and they say this
Mm-hmm.
network isn't for
But how
me.
long are they doing the networking? That's the question, right? If they're coming to me and saying, I don't have clients there, I need to know, how long have you been trying to do that strategy? Did you just walk in one or two times and go, fuck it, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not getting clients. Or are you actually putting forth some effort for an entire year on that strategy? And just saying, hey, I just want to see what I need to learn. The most impressive thing that happened with one of my clients was we were doing a challenge, and this is kind of same mindset as networking and all that. We were doing a challenge. We were setting up for a challenge. He was running ads. I mean, it was a huge campaign that we were doing together. And I said, oh my God, I was more worried than him. I said, oh my God, I don't know if you're going to get any clients from this now, because I knew it was like the first time he was doing it. That means you more likely won't get anybody joining your freaking challenge, number one. And I was worried. I was like, I hope he has the right mindset, you know, and this is when I learned that I should address this before we go walking in. He told me at that point in time, I don't care if nobody joins my challenge. I just want to find out if I want to do it. And 3 months later, he had 40 more clients. So see the difference there? He's not going in to sell. He's going in just to see if this is something he wants to do in his business. I've had other businesses drop things, lead generators that were huge money makers, but it just didn't align with them. So you really have to ask yourself, instead of going in there and saying, I'm going to go get clients because they said networking or whatever the hell it is that they say is the thing to do to get clients. when you're walking in there going, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go in there and see if they're right and see if I even like doing this. Because for me, local networking and going to some of those things locally is very draining energy wise as an introvert. So it's not something that really aligns with me, but I will do it occasionally. But I do love social media just because I'm an introvert. But you have to figure out what aligns with you. So many things can stop you as well. If you've been going to networking events and you really like them, but you're still like, what's the deal? Why can't I like the people, they're interested, but I can't quite get them to step in and take my services? Well, ask yourself, what happens if they do ask you, hey, I want to sign up for your services? Do you know how to take them from that statement to converting them to onboarding them? What happens after all of that? We can't just go, here's my digital course, here's the link, sign up. Can we? No, we can't do that. I've seen too many landing pages created before people have actually sat down and figured out manually what their process is so they can automate it. That's the biggest problem. We want to jump on things that people says are the answer instead of going into it and going, okay, that sounds interesting. I'll test it for me. We have way too many business coaches out there saying this is the only thing that works when we have, way too many coaches saying this is the only thing that works. So apparently everything works, but everything doesn't. And you have to go in it with open minds and thinking about what you want from your business, who you want in it, what you want from your business. And then ask yourself, was that an experience I want to continue? And yes, you're going to be frustrated. Like like you said, they just want to sell to me. They just want to do that. Push that away for a minute and come in with a more open eyes and say, okay, so if I were to use this process, how would it fit into my current strategy? And is it beneficial and worth my time? Forget what they're preaching and you ask yourself that. And if you need an answer, then that's when you need to step in and talk to a coach. The problem is sometimes we sit around and go, I don't understand why all this is happening. And you keep spiraling out of control with that without getting somebody to go, whoop, 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 here's your path. I'm not a coach that sits down and says, this is what you should do. I'm a coach that says, okay, in my opinion, this is the kind of things that you're going to face with that kind of strategy. Now you need to ask yourself, is that what you want? So to give a great example of that, and this is a little random, but I know someone who runs a boarding facility. That's still a service, but think about it as it applies to online. She said for years she did trail rides. Okay, so that's a lead generator. You get people in there trying out the horses. Woohoo! I want to ride. I want to take lessons now. That's the idea. Woohoo! I'm taking lessons now. I want to show. Woohoo! I'm showing now. I want to buy a horse. That's the funnel. And she also has a children's camp that she loves doing, and she does it all day, every day when the kids are out of school. During the summer, I mean, all kinds of kids. And those kids usually end up taking lessons and leasing horses and buying horses and going to shows. And that means she gets to trailer them and charge them for all of this stuff. Okay. And she has the horses there to sell them. So she's got all the things that her clients need. But her ideal client that she wants is that person that wants to be serious about riding, not just there to ride a trail. So she said the trail rides she felt like were getting in the way of the other lead generator that she had, the children's camp, that actually created a client that will stay with her for years to come, versus the trail that really didn't have anybody else just walk up to her right after and say, or, a few days later or months later and say, I'd like lessons. So that's the other aspect you have to understand about your clients, is it may not be right now, it may be later. So I think what we're dealing with in the long run is the pressure that we're creating when we step into a networking event, when we friend request somebody and all of that. We're expecting a result that's beyond the result that you should be expecting. That result that you're expecting, the sale, is a little further down the line, because you can't just walk up to somebody and say, hey, will you sleep with me? I mean, there are people out there that do that. And I'm not that kind of girl. I need some loving first. I need some loving, So if you really want to get clear on who your ideal client avatar is, and you want to kind of shake that mindset of everybody wants to sell to me, think first, I'm in business. Of course, people are going to want to sell to me. That's what happens at the Rotary Club. That's what happens at any business event. Everybody is there to sell, but they're also there looking for a solution too. So you need to be really clear about what solution you provide and the transformations that you create with that. Yes. But at the same time, when you're going in there, you have to understand that you also need to talk to them to find out, are these my people?
And build relationship in some way.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, we can't, I mean, nobody, I mean, a few people do, and let's, nobody gets married 5 minutes after meeting. I mean, some people do, right? Whatever.
That's true.
But how long does that last? So you got to think of it that way, because literally when you have somebody in your program for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever, 6 months, a year, whatever your program is, you have to deal with that person. So one way that you can really understand your sales process is to sit down and think about, what is your buying habits? How do you like to buy? Do you like it when you walk into a dress shop or a department store and you're immediately, attacked by the perfume lady? Do you like that? I mean, some people are like, yeah, I do. I like, then we sit down, we play with all the makeup, and we get to, do a makeover and all. I don't. I'm like, stay the hell out of my space. So that's why I like client attraction, is because it's more of a lighthouse versus that chasing down, here's some samples, here you go, blah. Yes, I have a bunch of free resources that I provide in my Effortlessly Book community. But as you notice, because you're a member, I no longer do calls. Now, I did do strategy calls and sales calls for a long time. Why? Because that's like doing market research and getting paid at the same time. It honestly is. And will I do them? Yes, I'll probably still do them, but I've found that I'm answering the same question over and over and over again. And really, the goal is to share my services and let you get a feel for what it's like to work with me before putting down that money. I'm trying not to waste your time and money. Right? So I'm just going to sit back and let you enjoy my content. And when you're ready, you can come to me. Of course, I constantly, you notice this, I constantly invite people to connect, constantly. So I have that. I've been there with the frustration of everybody wants to sell to me. I'm getting appointment setters everywhere. And I went down that road. If you focus on that, you'll get more people that have that same mindset. And they too are being resistant to buying. Whereas versus if you say, hey, I'm here to share my services, conduct business, and join with other business people like Sutton McCraney. I'm sure she's been on your podcast. You guys collaborate quite a bit. And you're in my group. Here we are collaborating, right? You might buy my services. I might buy yours. We don't know that. We're just seeing where this relationship goes, right? So that you take that position. Take that position. Because if you want to be in business, you're going to have businesses in your world. That's your tribe. Business people are your tribe. So, sit down and really think about, why does this bother me, and what can I do to get past the negative aspect and create a more positive aspect? Don't put so much energy towards, they're just here to sell me, because I know what that brings. I've been there. It brings more of that to you. Yeah. If you're like, okay, well, that, that's great. I love your, it's fine. Don't respond to it if you don't want to. You don't have to respond to every freaking message you get. Right? You can ignore it, move on, block them if they become annoying. That's how you create boundaries around that space. And then, in the comments section, your client more than likely is not going to engage with you on social media until they're ready. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Every client I've ever had, I'm like, where the hell did you come from? And they're like, I've been watching you for a while now, and I really like what you do, and I wanted to learn more about your services. They've never liked my post. They've never commented on my post. Hell, I didn't even know they existed until they came into my DMs. That can happen. So try to hold this space of, I'm going to be the lighthouse and let them come to me, versus the tugboat who's trying to drag everyone into your services.
Yeah, that's fine. And I wanted to ask you before we ramp up a call, who do you mostly serve? Who are your clients the most, and how you can help them, and how people can reach out to you, and why we'll put all information on your website and social media below this.
All the things.
Episode, all the things, yes.
So the fastest, easiest way to find me is on Facebook. Leah, my profile especially, is LeahSparrow. You can also search Effortlessly Booked as well, but LeahSparrow. I mean, if you search it on Google, my picture should show up everywhere. But but that being said, I am most active on my Facebook profile. So if you want to connect with me, great. If you want to join my Facebook group, fine. That's where you can get the most personal experiences with my Facebook group. And I have a lot of things planned for that group. I slowed down for a little bit in that group just to get get a feel for the group and what they needed before I start pumping out more content. So I do tend to do that. But that being said, the person that I can take people from zero to fully booked like nobody's business in the 90 days. But at the same time, those people that I've taken from zero to fully booked have been doing their services for at least 1 year. Now, that being said, why is anybody not have any clients after a year? So I have the ones that I've had the most success are the ones that have been going for a year. They know what they offer. They know the type of client that they want, but they're still got some missing pieces to the puzzle, right? Kind of like yourself. You know what kind of client you want, but still not quite matching up. Still feel like you're working real hard and, nose to the grindstone and not getting quite the results that you want. And that's the kind of person that I'm looking for. Yes, basically to make it simple, know your niche, have an idea of who you want to serve and what your services are. Do you have to have a program and a digital course to be in my? No, I can help you create your offer, but just have an idea of what you want to do and be doing it. Have some success with it. Now, does that mean you've been booking clients? No, it means that you know that you have been able to get these results with these services. And in some cases, these are people that have been working as an independent contractor or have been working for another company and they know they can get those results, right? So I like to stick with the 1 year, 6 months to a year, at least making 2,000 per month in your business. But I have taken people from zero to fully booked because I also know it's, you will have people that know what they want to invest in. That's the other thing about my ideal client. Every one of them that I've had success with knows exactly where they want to be in 1 year. They know exactly how much money they need in their business. They know exactly how much money they need in order to make things happen for them, right? In their life. So those are the things that you need to plan out is where do I want to be in a year? How many clients can I handle? And how much do I believe I need in my business in order for it to sustain itself? And how much would I like to make in my business in a year?
That's fantastic, and what I wanted to say to ramp up our episode today, it was lovely talking to you. We will continue maybe in the next episode. You will be guest speaker
It's a
again.
two-parter, baby.
Yeah,
I can go on
I'm so happy
forever.
to have you today, and thank you so much for sharing your story and all those kind of things about you and your business.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Christina. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much and be blessed. Bye for now and see you very soon. Thank you. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Bye for now.